Day 2. Should be getting our new Honda pump mounted on the tank and everything starting to get it all squared away. So here's the bottom of the tank, the lid. Very nice. See a nice screen in there to keep stuff out of the pump. I don't know if there's a check valve in there. Might be. Not sure on that. There's the valve for the recert, and there's the fill, and really a nice screen on that as well. So what I did is I took the wire brush and I cleaned all of this up. This has all had a bunch of silicone and goobers on it, so it's all nice and clean. If we go over here to our tank, really good heavy rubber gasket seal, and I've got that all cleaned off. So we'll put a nice small bead of silicone, 100% silicone on there, and then let's set the lid and see what it's going to take to get this new pump mounted up. So to seal the lid, I'll be using some 100% silicone. Clear would be nice. I don't have clear. I've got white, which will be just fine. I'll put it on the inside liberally so I don't get too much squeezing out. If you buy when you're looking to buy a caulking gun, this is something that every homeowner needs to have. Make sure you get one that's got a wire on it here. It's so handy for puncturing the inside of the tube. Now I can feel here this caulk was in the tube. It's hard. It's gone bad. So this one here is really cool. So take your lid off. It's got a cutter right there, like a little cigar cutter. So you put that in there like that, and then you can cut the tip off. Then you can use this to poke. There's a kind of a membrane deal in there. Puncture that, and you're set. Those cheap caulk guns, you have to go get 2 other tools. You have to find something to poke the tip and cut the end off. It's really a hassle. So this is a really good one. All right. So because the silicone is going to be setting up, we're going to make sure that we get this bolted down and cinched up before we do anything else. When you're working with something like this, it needs to be torqued properly. That if you over tighten it, you're going to crack or break or damage something, and you got a lot of bolts and you want some consistency. Yeah, you can use a torque wrench. That's a very tedious, time-consuming way to do it. One thing that's easily or often overlooked on your cordless drills is you have a clutch setting. It's on the bezel right here. You can turn that and set individual torques when it breaks free. And you can get a socket adapter for your drill right there that takes a 3/8 socket, and it makes a really good, clean way to do it. You can just put it on here and you get the even, exact torque on each bolt. If we did our silicone right, we won't have any of this, but one little spot I got a little bit heavy, so we'll clean that off there. So we're faced with another obstacle in mounting this tank. This is designed to permanently mount into the back of your wildland engine, and it just pretty much stays there. That's not a real good option for me because I don't want to tie up my truck just for this. This is something it's just going to be in seasonally, and also something that I want to be able to put in and take out with relative ease. My solution here is I've got this big channel steel that I got at a local wrecking yard. It's 2 inches thick by 6 inches or so. And what I'm going to do is I've got my forklift spread to its maximum width, as wide as it will go, and I'm going to use this to bolt everything together. That way the whole tank will rest on these skids that I can bolt all the way through into the bed, and it'll be super secure. Now there's a bit of a gap in the middle there. We don't want the weight of that tank pressing and breaking or stressing this marine plywood under here. So I'll put a cleat of 2 inch, the same thickness as this, all the way across, so it has lots of surface area to rest in. So these things are about 1 foot longer than they need to be, and so I'm going to mark these and cut them to exact length. I'm liking the looks of this. That's going to be strong and versatile. I've got those cut flush. Now the bolts to secure the whole tank will go through here and into the truck bed and be very secure. With only 4 bolts to take it in and take it out, put it in. So there's no reason for these ends to stick out beyond the plywood base, so we'll cut those to length. We don't want to mix up each end because they're kind of custom fit for each one, and so we'll mark those so we can put them right back where they belong. So now we're ready to drill our holes. So I've got this laid out right in the center, and I'll typically use a washer. It helps me to get a nice uniform circle, because we'll use the plasma torch to cut these out. So before we punch the holes in the big skids, we'll get these brackets painted and drying while we're doing that. So I'll just clean this with a lacquer thinner before I paint. Get off any grease or things that would prevent the paint from adhering to it. It's all that stuff. Your paint doesn't like to stick to dirt right there, so that's always good to prep these. So now we're ready to punch the holes in our skids. Now this is the washer we used there for that for the other piece, and I'm going to make a hole a little bit bigger, about 1/8 bigger on these, just so I have a little bit of flexibility. It's just not so tight, because you know, getting these things always lined up when you're going through multiple layers is always tough. So this is really just acting as a spacer, and it doesn't need to fit tight, so this will make life a little bit easier. Whenever I draw circles, I always think of that story. I believe it was Michelangelo. I could be wrong. You history majors, correct me if I'm wrong. But he was brought before someone of importance for a commission to do something, and they were questioning, you know, why should we hire you? What are your qualifications? And legend has it that he took a piece of parchment and he drew a perfect circle freehand, and that was his reply. If you think that's easy to do, try it. So here's our completed base. And that is going to work out nice. Got our holes all lining up there. Put some nice washers on there, but that's going to be, that was a little extra trouble to do, but it's going to change everything. I mean, can you imagine every time you wanted to take it out to try to get underneath that plywood and fool around with that and running the risk of damaging everything, so that's really nice. So here's the bottom side of our base. I don't have a 1 2x that's full 2 inches thick that'll run that full length, but I do have these 2 scraps, and that will be just fine. So we'll put a good bunch of glue on here.